Hey there everyone, Tyler Pyburn here for the latest edition of the We Need a Vacation Vacation Rental Podcast. And for the folks that are listening right now, if you didn't realize this, we're actually videotaping this, so you can actually see us if you wanted to. And for the folks that are watching this, well, you already knew that because you see us right now. Next to me, I am with the owner of WeNeedaVacation.com, Jeff Talmadge. Jeff, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks, Tyler. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, and
Good.
I think we're doing more fantastic than ever today because we're filming this, we're recording this on December 1st, 2016. Why is December 1st significant?
Well, in the great grand scheme of things in the world, probably not very, but in We Need a Vacation terms, this is our 19th anniversary.
How cool is that to say that?
Yep. The site went live 19 years ago today.
It's one of those things that's kind of crazy, I'm sure, to think back. I've been with the team for a little over 2 years now, and obviously I've seen, little things jump up, but I'm sure for you, 19 years ago, I was looking at the way the website looked 19 years ago. It's a little different now, isn't it?
Everything has changed so much. I don't know what we expected back then, whether we'd be at this long or not, but to run any business for this long is pretty unusual, and I think we're very proud we were able to do it, particularly with an internet business. It's been quite a ride.
Well, I was going to say, that's the thing that's kind of cool to me is you look back and you say, okay, 20 years in any business, 19 years in any business, that's no small feat. That's really cool. In a .com business, you've got to be kidding me. That type of mentality.
There probably aren't too many of us. So we've had to, as any business would, adjust over time. That's, I think, been the key thing. I know when we first started doing what now we call homeowner forums, which you've been a part of and been
absolutely.
very much important part of. When we started doing them years ago, probably 12, 15 years ago, I remember showing kind of a handwritten piece of paper that had some of our key values on it. And there was service, technology, and the word evolve. And people would look at me kind of fun. They understood service, they understood technology, but they didn't really understand evolve. And I would tell the story about how the companies I had worked for before I went out on my own were the late, great mini-computer companies. And how they now were out of business.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't evolved. They were in technologies that were in their heyday at the top of the heap, but those technologies went the way of the dodo bird, and they failed, and they just went under. And so I was kind of had a healthy paranoia that fundamentally I'm in a tech business, tech changes all the time, so I better be a little on the paranoid side in a good way.
Is it
to
easy?
keep up with what was inevitably going to be a rapidly changing world.
Well, I think technology in particular, it doesn't just take step forwards, it jumps forward. It takes leaps and bounds forward. Look at where we are now. In 1997, was everybody walking around with this in their pocket? Definitely not, right? So that's totally changed. I laughed at when they said, well, in high school, what my teacher always tell me back then, well, you're never going to have a calculator or a computer with you at all times, so you need to learn this stuff. Well, I do have a calculator and computer with me at all times, so I guess I didn't need to learn it. But how important is it, that part of it, to not kind of become, in any business, let alone WeNeedaVacation.com, but any business, not to be complacent, to kind of really grow and evolve?
Well, I can't think of a more important, other than just treat your people well and be honest and that kind of stuff. I can't think of anything that's more important, because I think business changes all the time, whether you're a tech business or not. Tech businesses clearly change faster because they're changing with technology that, as you suggest, has turned sort of upside down since the late 90s. It almost sounds laughable to talk about.
I know, it's just
late
almost
90s.
Funny when you think about it being that long ago.
Yeah, really. So I think that healthy, constant and again, you can't be a nervous wreck about it or you'll go nuts.
You drive yourself crazy.
To constantly be willing to reevaluate where you are and to ask yourself the question, are we doing it the right way? How do we adapt? I think we all get enamored with our own good ideas. It takes
Everybody
a bit of an ego to run a company. So, I have to fight myself in my own ego sometimes to say, well, yeah, that's the way I thought it was the right way to do it last year, but maybe we need to rethink it. And I think we've been able to do that. Plus, working with Joan, having your wife as your partner, we're very different and we keep each other very honest because we just think differently, and we're not afraid to very affectionately and respectfully challenge each other.
I was going to say challenge each other as well.
And now you guys, you're like family, our quote employees, but you hopefully and clearly do feel comfortable expressing your ideas and saying, I don't think that's the right way to do it. Let's do it a different way. And I hope, as leaders, that we encourage that and that culture.
So you mentioned the family. So I want to talk about the people part. So we just kind of focus on the technology. Let's talk about the people part right now.
Sure.
And let's look at in 3 dimensions almost, because it's 3 dimensions that make this business, I feel like, very successful. It's the people that we have under this roof, and sometimes not under the roof, but they might be on the Cape at times as well. But the people that work for you, you have the people that are our homeowners, that are subscribers on our site, and then we have the people that are vacationers as well, that obviously drive the traffic to the site, that help fulfill the homeowners and their needs, their desires, their wants for the summer season and the shoulder seasons. So first, let's start and talk about the people, the importance of people under this roof and these 4 walls, really.
Well, we wouldn't have a business without you guys. I mean, any employer's going to say that, but I think it's been really vitally important to Joan and me to attract people, keep people who think not the way we think, but have the same values that we have and really want to do a good job by the other 2 sets of constituents and want to do it in a kind of a democratic, consensual, constructive, positive way. I think that's been, we both worked for lots of different organization types over the years. And I think, you just develop a style and develop really a value system that becomes important to you.
Well, it doesn't
And so including the employees as equals, that is really important. I mean, you know more about marketing than I'll ever know, so I'm not about
That's
to
what I was just going to say. It
boss
doesn't
you
feel like
around.
the hierarchy that I've seen in other companies. It's pretty flat, but everybody, like you said, to the challenging point, it's not that someone's necessarily looking over your shoulder to make sure you're doing what you're doing.
No.
It's challenging someone, the person next to you, say, can we work this a little, maybe work a little harder, or can we think in a different way, in a sense?
Right, and I think, everybody has strengths and weaknesses and skills and things they really love to do and maybe not so much love to do. And I think, in any job, you've got to do a little of everything. Yeah. But I think we've tried also to tune, a lot of the roles that you all have now, not so much yours, but others, is really a function of what their strengths emerged as. It's not like they walked in and fit some little slot that we created. It's that they came in almost as a generalist in a way, but then showed an affinity, a talent, a passion for a certain sector. Different. Yeah. So that's how we've kind of pieced it together. And then, as long as the whole job gets done, who cares who
Keep
does
moving
it?
forward. Who cares who does it?
Yeah, and I believe in a flat organization. I believe in. It was funny in the early years. I was really obsessed with sort of org charts because that's the world I had come from big businesses.
Same here. Exactly.
That's just how you think. And are the roles clear enough? And it took me a while to let go of that. But that's how I was trained till I was older than you. I was
when you're always around
in business for 20 years,
and
that's how you kind of are taught to think. And now it's important people know what their responsibilities are, for sure, and the boundaries and so forth, what their latitude is. But I think everybody's so senior, so talented, so experienced that letting them thrive and letting them do what they love to do is magic. I mean, that really works. So I think we're very proud of that and feel that that's been something we have worked at, not worked, but I mean, fine-tuned.
Yeah, kind of molded along the way.
Let it kind of evolve in that direction.
Very cool. Let's talk about the people, the homeowners, because without the homeowners,
yeah.
well, there is no WeNeedaVacation.com,
of course
right?
Not. Well, as you say, they're the real lifeblood. They're our true clients. I think that my first thought there is we is one. I mean, most of us own homes, and this started because Joan and I bought a house on the Cape and needed to rent it. And that was certainly part of the genesis. But many of us have homes, so we have that direct relationship, very personal relationship. We sort of walk their walk and talk their talk, especially those of us on the front lines who talk with homeowners all day long.
Yep.
They know what they're talking about because they've been doing it for collectively, 50, 100 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I think that's really been important to have that connection and to have the empathy that we are able to have it because we is them. we are homeowners.
Yeah, well, we're in this. It's funny when you look at kind of a bigger corporation in any business. When you get so big, sometimes you forget about those friendships, those bonds, and the fact that you're in this together, right? I mean, their goal is really the same as our goal, right? Is to fill their weeks. And when I say our goal, literally the same as the majority of our homeowner team who have homes on the Cape and Martha's Vineyard have that exact same goal to fill their summer weeks and to maybe get a little gravy on the shoulder seasons, right? So I think when we say, we're in this together, there's no BS there. That's really the truth.
It really is. And I think we've learned a lot from them. We really believe in listening to them, just like we talked about with the employees. They have a tremendous amount to offer. And one sort of funny story, in early 2000s, we were on all of New England at first.
Yep.
That was how we started. So we had rentals in Maine and New Hampshire and so forth. And the rest of the non-Cape and Island part wasn't doing very well. Yep. Is it a lake? Are we selling lakes in the winter? Are we selling ski? Are we selling beach?
In New Hampshire.
What are we selling? And so there was just a very complex marketing message. It was all New England vacations, but there's so many different kinds. And we were just sort of whining to one of our vineyard homeowners at the time. We just met for coffee. She was a PR whiz for Dukakis and for Northeastern. And really a senior marketing professional. And she just asked the simple question, where are you succeeding? Because we were saying how hard it was. And she said, well, the Cape and Islands seems to be pretty, really booming, but everything else isn't. And she said, so why don't you just concentrate on the Cape and Islands? And so we did. I mean, but it was because we were in communication with her. We're sitting down having coffee with her, not even on the phone.
Yeah.
And that
this isn't a cold call.
This kind of came out of, it's just, I think we all believe in this, is how communication happens. If you just get smart people, caring people sitting around and you kind of give them time, they'll find good answers, So I think that was just one of those examples of throw stuff at the wall and who knows what's going to happen, but just give it a shot. And that was a really apocryphal moment in our past.
Is that an kind of a shock to the ego a little bit, though? On the flip side of things, to say,
of course,
I want this to grow, I want this to be...
Yeah, of course. My original dream was we'd have a worldwide site. So that's the hunter and gatherer in me, I guess, but I couldn't help that. But that's been certainly one of the things we've had to deal with, and it was very hard for me to give that up because it felt like failure in a way. But it seemed it was so night and day between how well we were doing on the Cape and Islands and how well we weren't doing the rest of the places that it almost made it. That was one of the easier decisions. We also then expanded to Florida in 2003, and were there for 10 years. And at one point, excuse me, maybe 10 years ago now, 11 years ago now, we really thought we could, or I thought, I'm not sure Joan agreed. This might be the guy talking, not the woman. But anyway, I thought we could do the whole East Coast.
Okay.
Again, take over the world.
Yep.
And then competition kicked in, and instead of a bunch of mom and pop competitors that we had in the beginning, specifically HomeAway rolled into town and started raising hundreds of millions of dollars to do a worldwide site, and it became fairly clear that maybe expanding wasn't the best thing to do. So we pretty promptly shut down that idea.
But you've also honed in so much on the Cape and the Islands. As you say, we kind of bunkered down.
That was the way I thought of it. It was intimidating when somebody raises $500 million in the middle of a recession.
How do you
come
do
after
that?
You? I mean, that's not their purpose, but they were eating up companies like us. That's a little terrifying, to be honest. I mean, that's really pretty scary, and because we really didn't know if we'd be able to survive that kind of competition. So we felt that rather than expand, which would be playing by their rules on their chessboard, we would, we did. We used the phrase "build a bunker" around the Cape and Islands, because maybe if we morph ourselves into a niche business that gets truly embedded, more fully embedded in those geographies and that branding, that will do it. And that seems to be working.
Now,
I think that was the right decision.
Throughout this entire process, we mentioned the people work with Bean Cattle family. Definitely, it's a family organization. There's no question about that. You mentioned, sitting down for coffee. A lot of this is fun. How much fun have you had in the last 19 years?
Oh gosh, Tyler, I've been very lucky in my career. I had some really exciting companies to work for, and had several years of kind of be out on my own. But this has been the best part of my career. Seeing this evolve, it has been fun. The people, all of you, working with all of you, is truly joyful, and I think it just fills both of us up with satisfaction and fulfillment. I think we're proud of what we've been able to do. Never satisfied, you're never done.
Be complacent, never done,
never finished. But no, it has been just a lot of fun, and been extremely rewarding.
Awesome, so cool. Last question for you.
Sure.
It's been 19 years. What's next for We Need a Vacation? Oof. That's the $1 million question, but I think it's going pretty good.
It is going very well. I think that's always hard to know. I don't know that I have a 20-year vision at my age. I'm not sure I should be the one to have that. I honestly think what's next is for you young folk to carve out that mission. And I see myself more as kind of a facilitator, mentor than chief strategist. I mean, for a long time, the buck stopped with me. I was the one that didn't sleep at night when I couldn't figure out what to do and money was short or whatever. I mean, we certainly had our periods of challenge where it looked a little sketchy. We were overcommitted or whatever. I mean, all the little fun things that come along with small business. Yeah. I honestly feel the best thing I can do is encourage you guys to come up with those answers. And I think that's starting to happen with the expansion, speaking of the bunker, building programs, marketing programs within that bunker that serve that and both create
and the people and relationships
maybe a new business opportunity, but also synergize with the existing relationships. So that's how I would always frame it, is find sort of a win-win where it's consistent with what you're doing. It's part of your mission. It's not some off-the-wall, orthogonal thing. But it's consistent with your mission, but it grows you, it moves you in a new direction somewhere that's complementary, so that it all sort of fits together. You're not tugging against yourself. So when people ask us, do you want to expand to geographically?
Which is a question you get all the time.
Yeah, and people are now saying, because they're so dissatisfied with some of the competitors, they're saying, oh, can't you just expand to fill in the blank, Texas, whatever. And, so you start thinking about, well, do you franchise yourself? Do you hire a bunch of people and blah, blah, blah. There are all sorts of ways you could do that. But everything you do kind of dilutes you from the bunker. And I'd rather build services on top of the bunker because of you get two bangs out of that one. One, you strengthen the bunker, which is always, that's your paycheck, that's your lifeblood. And you add value to the business and the clients by coming up with a new service that you didn't have that maybe provides a new revenue stream and some growth. So that's how I would always look at it, is to think of ways that we become more of a full-service agency, both marketing, even technically. Maybe we start doing technical work for people. Those are the opportunities that I think may be out there, but I'm going to rely on you younger guys to...
We've got some big shoes to fill.
To bring it home.
For sure. No question about it. Jeff, honestly, as always, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tyler. That was great. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Here's Jeff Talmadge. I am Tyler Pye. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, watching, listening, however you're consuming this right now. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you, or you'll hear us next time.
Happy holidays.